I agree. When I was a public classroom teacher, I took this continuing ed. It was a workshop, and it was how to implement economics into the classroom. I taught English to seventh graders. Okay, the hormones are raging. They're like all over the place. And I was teaching in the projects. So trying to implement that into a classroom setting was my challenge. And it was really funny because I'm fast forwarding. I created like Monopoly money, and the kids every week was a bank day. And so they could turn their money in. They learned how to save. They learned how to, you know, be able to budget. They also, the money got street value. So some of the things that they could actually buy was a pass, because we had a rotating schedule every 6 weeks. It would rotate to another hour, the next period of time for the class. And they could either buy a pass to be the first one in the lunch line or the first one on the bus. So they could be 5 minutes out and they got to be the first one in the lunch line, like I said, or on the bus. That was a really big deal for these kids because, you know, you only get 20 minutes for lunch, and it's really rough trying to be the cool kid on the bus. So they liked that a lot. They also could have a 5-minute pass to walk around the halls without causing a disruption or pulling the fire alarm. So it was a lot of trust. And I'm not kidding. These kids were really something. And one time when I was out, they didn't like the fact that I was not in class. So they turned the lights off, threw a book at the substitute, and pulled her skirt up over her head. And I said, you guys can't treat people like that. That's just that's not
in that order, or was it a different order?
No, that order. That's what they told me. Yeah.
Okay.
And I got, and I'm not supposed to be called, but even the school called me on that day and said, okay, what's going on? Your class is out of control. I went,
do you know what book it was? Was it the textbook?
It was the English textbook. Yeah.
Well, so then it's not, I mean, the violent part is not good, but the throwing the textbook across the room, I could get behind that part.
Why so?
It's sort of like in the what is it? The Robin Williams movie where he says tear out all the pages.
Oh yeah, that was the poet book, right? The poet movie.
Dead Poets Society. I
Poets,
love
yeah.
that. And he's like, stand up on top of the desk, tear the pages out. I love that. I used to actually, when I had students, I probably shouldn't say this on the air, but why not? When I had students, I would always have an exercise where I'd say, write 15 pages on that topic and bring it in on Monday. And then when they brought it in, I said, okay, now tear it up. I took that from Dead Poet Society. There's one student who didn't do it in I did it for like 5-6 years, but some of the students loved it. They're like, yeah, I'm getting into this. Anyway, that was fun.
Wow. Are all the grades the same when they do that?
There was no grade.
Okay. It's just the exercise of freedom.
Yeah, because grades mean nothing. Well,
yeah.
I mean, what grade? Like, well, I should say, most of the time I trust the grades on my eggs and things, but do you see non-grade A eggs? Do you see like grade C in the store? Like, I don't know. It doesn't mean much if everything's grade A, grade double A. I don't know. Randy, what kind of eggs do you have? Grade A eggs?
I don't know. I don't look at the stamp. But you see, I'm glad you asked me that question, because the only eggs I eat are organic eggs.
Yeah, that's the thing I thought about. They all say organic.
Yeah, they all say organic, and they're all free range now.
Do you do the humane eggs or the non-humane ones? I go for the
humane
ones.
eggs, only ever the humane egg. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have to come in biodegradable packaging.
Are you okay with the white ones, or you like only the brown ones?
Only the brown ones.
Yeah.
So I'm very specific about my eggs, but I do eat them. I'm not a non-egg eater.
Have you had quail eggs?
I have not had quail eggs. No.
They sell them in the grocery store here.
Yeah.
Have you had dinosaur eggs?
Yeah. I have a picture of a dinosaur egg somewhere.
Do you really?
A picture of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Not the real thing.
No, how big was it?
Well, I don't know. It was this big.
You could have said anything. You could say it's the size of a house.
Well, I don't believe that.
No, that wouldn't work.
Maybe a
There was a
tiny
picture.
home,
Oh,
Maybe.
it's the size of a tiny home, yeah.
tiny home house. Yeah. When you're saying a house, tiny home, like, you know.
Well, that's a good example of something.
Mhm. They've also sold ostrich eggs in the store where I am.
Ostrich eggs. My brother had an emu farm, and so similar to ostriches, just not as pretty. And he used to sell the eggs. Yeah.
Wow.
Is
Did you
the
eat one
emu
of those eggs? I want to know, does it taste different from a chicken
No,
egg?
I did not eat one of those eggs. I really don't know, but every part of the emu gets used, every single part of it. So that was
Does it
interesting. Because
does
they're
the
like
egg taste different than a bunny egg?
The
bunnies,
Cadbury kind?
the Cadbury kind. Yeah, yeah, no,
You
probably.
can see how kids are confused, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I mean,
rabbits, eggs.
rabbits and eggs.
Yeah.
You never
the
see a
Cadbury.
chicken on the shelf on Easter, right?
You do. You'll see
do?
little chicks. They're chocolate.
Oh, that's true. The chicks. You see
Yeah.
the chicks, but you don't see they're just magically there. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But I don't know how they can have. Must be very uncomfortable with that foil covering. How do they get the foil covering on the eggs?
It's true. And if it's the chicken and the egg at Easter time, it's definitely the egg
Why do you think so?
Problem
because there's
solved.
no chickens. I mean,
But who laid the egg?
Bunnies.
it doesn't matter. It's just the egg. That's the answer to that question. The chicken or the egg? It's the egg, obviously.
Okay, maybe. I'm going to think about that one. I'll come back to that later.